All right. I'm joined today by Gary Brown, who runs the water system, our Chief Operating Officer, Hakeem Berry, and I know the Chief Engineer, Palencia Mobley, is here. What's your issue, John? Oh, Hakeem was blocking the interpreter. Okay. I've spent a good part of the last 2 or 3 days in the neighborhoods talking to folks in every corner of the city, and I promised I would come back with updates. Based on the conversations that I'm having, people in this city are basically asking me 4 questions. What do I do if I still have water in my basement? What do I do if I need help getting debris out of the basement? When will the debris on the curb get picked up? And what are you doing to help me get financial help for my losses? And so I'm going to update this community today on those 4 questions, let you know what's happening right now and what you can expect in the next week or 2. We've made enormous progress since I last spoke to you on Monday, and let me show you what has happened since. First question, what do I do if I still have water in my basement? There should not be standing water in your basement. The sewers have been cleaned out for days, really since Sunday. And so if there's water in your basement, something else is going on. And so if it is still there now, call our hotline, 313-267-8000. Gary Brown's team of 60 employees needs to come out and investigate. It might be a problem in the drain inside your house. It might be the sewer pipe outside your house. But either way, we need to get it addressed, because if more rain comes and you don't address it, the problem is going to get worse. If there is still standing water in your basement, please call this number now, and the DWSD teams will be out almost immediately because we need to get that issue resolved. Second question, what do I do if I need help getting the debris out of the basement? I heard this all the time, and the neighbors in this community have been terrific. Story after story of people going in and pitching in with their neighbors. I heard from a number of people who said, my son's coming into town this weekend, my grandkids will be over Sunday to help, and so we still have a lot to do. And then you got folks who just don't have anybody to turn to. We will help you. If you're elderly, you're disabled, you can't get the materials out of the basement, we will help you. And a lot of folks have called already, and we've already got them scheduled for help, but we can continue to do this. We've got 60 city employees. We pulled folks off from a lot of other different operations because this is the most pressing issue in the lives of a number of our neighborhoods. We have got to get these basements cleaned out, and I'm proud to say more than 150 people from the community have already volunteered, and we started out in Jefferson Chalmers today, but we put our community volunteers into the neighborhoods already. They're just doing an absolutely outstanding job. You want to see something that will warm your heart, see the reaction of city homeowners when volunteers come in to help them in their neighborhood. We are going to move to all of the neighborhoods in the city, from the most affected to the least affected. We're going to move out from Jefferson Chalmers starting tomorrow. So in the coming days, if you're in these neighborhoods, these are the ones where we have the most intense reports, basement flooding, Warrendale, Barton, McFarland, Aviation, Sub, Waco, Franklin Park, Cody Rouge, and Littlefield on the west side, and Jefferson, Chalmers, Morningside, East English Village, East Canfield, and Chandler Park on the east side. Once we get through those, we've got some other neighborhoods that were not as hard hit, but were still hit. We will get to those as well, but we are starting with the most intense areas and getting in there first. So if you're in one of these neighborhoods, or if you live in one of these neighborhoods and you want to volunteer, here's what we'd like you to do. We can use your help because there's a lot of work to do, and we can get it done faster with your help. So particularly if you're near one of those neighborhoods and you want to pitch in, go to DetroitMI.gov, click on the volunteer tab on the front page, fill out the form, we'll get you an email, and we will let you know when we're going to be in your area or your neighborhood, so that day you can come out. We're asking you to work a 4-hour shift, and we'll give you a location somewhere near where you live so that it's convenient for you. But this is going far faster than I would have thought because we have people committing to help their neighbors. And so you just need to dress appropriately and come out. We'll provide you the protective gear so that you can safely work in these basements. This is what it's going to take. Picking up the debris, Hakeem Berry, our COO, is here. Ron Brundidge has just done an amazing job. He'd be here, but he's too busy getting this picked up. We're going to get over 1,000 tons out of this city today. It's an amazing number, and it's even going to go up tomorrow. So on any given day in Detroit, you got 28 garbage trucks on the street. The GFL and the advanced trucks you see go down the street, and the bulk trucks on any given day, we got 28 trucks. Of course, it takes 28 just to do the normal garbage pickup, which means if we were going to deal with this huge bulk on the street, we had to ramp up. We've now added 43 more trucks for the rest of this, meaning we've got 71 crews on the street. So we have the normal garbage trucks from Advance and GFL at 28. Then we moved a bunch of city crews. Those of you who are waiting for alley cleanups, we had to put that on hold for a couple of weeks because we've got to take care of folks in their basements. But we moved that equipment and other equipment from the city. And then a number of private companies, I'll show you who they are dropping what they're doing so that we will have not 28 but 71 crews on the street. And I've been out here and, you know, our crews go down. They take every bit of debris on the street. 24 hours later, it's all filled up again. You wouldn't have known they were being there because people are bringing the material out of their basement in stages, and we want that. Bring it out at whatever speed you can bring it out. Put it out there and leave it there. Nobody will be ticketed. Just put it there and leave it there, and we will keep coming back over and over and over to get it removed. There is one thing you could do that would help us enormously. Nothing slows us down more than we've got a huge pile of debris from a basement and a parked car in front of it. It stops our vehicles from being able to get in and move the debris quickly. And so I'd ask you and tell your neighbors if you see it, please move your vehicles away from the front of the large piles because this will speed up our process very quickly. And I know how this town is a word-of-mouth town. So go down, if you're watching this, and you look out your window, if you see your neighbor across the street, it's got a car in front of a big pile, just ask them, please put it in the driveway, move it a house away, and it will speed up how fast we get this debris out of the neighborhood. We got people with refrigerators full of food that are sitting out there. Nothing good is going to happen by them sitting on the street longer than they need to be. And so you can help us on that. And I want to say thank you to not just the city departments who've been great, but Payne Landscaping, Detroit Grounds Crew, Priority Waste, Guyanga, Adamo, Homrich, Hayes Excavating. They pulled vehicles and equipment off of the other projects they were working on to pitch in the city. And Boise Jackson, our procurement department, did a remarkable job. We didn't screw around in the bureaucracy. We got contracts done quickly so that nobody's telling you a month from now this stuff is still sitting on your curb. We're going to move as fast as we possibly can to keep these neighborhoods as debris-free as we can. So here's what your schedule is going to be looking like. We'll have the 71 crews out tomorrow, and all day Saturday they will be out. Sunday, everybody gets the day off. They need the break. Monday, even though it's a holiday, the 28 Advance and GFL crews will be out on Monday, and by Tuesday, all 71 crews will be out, and those 71 crews will stay on the street until all of the debris is gone. Is that going to be 2 weeks or is that going to be 4 weeks? I can't tell you right now, but that we're just going to leave them there and have them keep going, and this is the way that we need to respond. The efforts to get financial help, and it's the start of every conversation I have with every family, and the stories are heartbreaking. I've been in neighborhoods that were hit in 2014. Our preliminary indication is that it looks like the impact of this flood is twice as big as what happened in 2014. And so those who went through it before know how the FEMA reimbursement process works. Others are learning for the first time, although I'm seeing neighbors explaining to neighbors how this works. But here's the important thing. President Biden has asked me to come meet with him in Traverse City on Saturday, and so I will be meeting with the president on Saturday to talk to him about the magnitude of what we're facing, not just for Detroit, but all of southeastern Michigan. I'll be pitching Dearborn and Grosse Pointe and Ann Arbor and Bloomfield and everybody else that was hit so hard. But to impress upon the president the urgency of an early declaration of a major disaster. Now, there's a federal law they have to follow before he can do that. FEMA has to come on the ground, has to do an assessment, has to make the recommendation to the president before he can act. And I'm very pleased that we were told today FEMA will be on the ground here on Thursday of next week. This is record speed, certainly much faster than we saw in 2014. And so the Biden administration has been great. Governor Whitmer has just done a remarkable job, because when the FEMA team gets here, we take them around, but then we have to provide materials. Every city being affected has to put together a summary of the impact, and the governor has to assemble all of it before the FEMA team can issue their recommendation. Governor Whitmer is all over this. She's already started to pull together the data, and I know she will be talking to the president on Saturday as well. Then go fill out your claim form. I know this is a City of Detroit claim form, and it probably won't get you a check from the City of Detroit, but it will get all of your information in one place and speed this up, and it's helping me have the data to tell the president. He's dealing with some pretty major things, including a building collapse in Florida. There are other things going on in this country, and we are going to make sure that we let the president and the whole administration know how urgent it is for FEMA to act here in southeastern Michigan. So if you fill out the form, take your pictures, get your receipts. And everybody I talk to, I say the same thing. Oh, no, I don't have the receipt from when I bought my stereo system. That's okay. Take the picture of the stereo system before you put it out on the curb, or take a picture of it out on the curb. It will be fine. But take pictures of everything that you dispose of. The receipts you need are really for any work. If you hire somebody to clean the basement, you need those receipts. But really the important thing is take your pictures, make your record. It will be so much easier when FEMA gets here. When FEMA gets here, they will literally knock on the door of your house, talk to you, and you'll get a chance to show them the pictures. And I talked to a number of people who went through it in 2014 and said when they had the pictures and receipts, the FEMA process went very smoothly. We're going to make it go even more smoothly this time. And so we'll see how the conversation goes with the president, but I'm just going to stay on this until we get our declaration. Please only send the claim form in if you're from Detroit. We're being inundated with suburbs sending us forms, and we just can't handle the suburban forms. So if you live in Grosse Pointe Farms, or you live in Dearborn or Ann Arbor, please follow your own city's direction. But please don't send the claim forms in here. This is a process for residents of the City of Detroit, and given the magnitude of what we're dealing with, it's an enormous effort just to make sure that Detroiters are being taken care of by our team. And then the last thing is this. We're starting to hear early reports, particularly on the east side, of some folks with scams posing as people who are sent out to help, or contractors or the like. And it is one of the terrible things about human nature that there are some who will prey on people at their most vulnerable times. And so we want you to be safe. And so you're going to have DWSD staff out, you're going to have DPW staff out, you're going to have volunteers out. Here's how you know when they come in and say they want to help. Our DWSD staff come in marked vehicles that indicate it's from the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department. They've got marked clothes, and you should ask them for their DWSD badge. They will have all of those things. So if they tell you they're from the Water Department and they don't have those things, there's a good degree of likelihood they're not who they say. It's a little more complicated because we've got our 150 volunteers who will be doing basements. They will be in shirts that look like this. And you will get a phone call in advance. So you will get a call in advance that says at 1912 Grayton, somebody will be there tomorrow from our volunteers to clean up. So you should have that call. If nobody calls ahead of time and somebody shows up, your antenna should be up. Possible it's a mistake, but we are really dedicated to calling you, and they've got these Serve Detroit shirts. And so if you got the call the day before and they dressed up like this, there's an excellent chance they're exactly who they said they are. If they didn't, I'd be concerned. But trust your own instincts. People can falsify uniforms and badges. So if there's something about the person showing up there and it's just bothering you, call this number. We're going to have a hotline for you so you can confirm that the City of Detroit really sent them out, 313-674-1080. But don't let them into your house if you're unsure. And you know what it is, that nagging feeling, there's something not right about this. Trust your instincts, and we're telling all of our folks, don't be offended. We've told people, don't be afraid to call and verify. They'll wait a few minutes. So you call the number, and we will tell you whether we have a team at your house. If we haven't, we're going to call the police pretty quickly, but we will be able to confirm for you because we have a master list of where everybody is deployed all the time, and so we will be able to give you that information. So this is what we've set up in the last 4 or 5 days. Hakeem Berry has been coordinating on the citywide department. Gary Brown and Palencia Mobley have been doing a remarkable job on the water side. And to give you a sense of what the team has done, I want Gary Brown to give you an update.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The first thing we got done was we got a call center that was set up, and that was to give our residents an opportunity to tell us where the problems were so that we could be able to prioritize the workload. We also are taking claim form information so that, as the mayor indicated, after FEMA gets in, if there's an opportunity, our residents will be way ahead of the game in terms of applying. And so right now, the calls that are coming into the call center have been drastically reduced with regards to water on the street. We've done a pretty good job of getting the water off the street. There's still some pockets of areas that the catch basins are covered up. As those calls come in, we send crews out to clean them off. If we find out that that storm drain is still got water in it and it's not going down, we bring out a Vector truck and we vacuum out any of the debris. If we still can't get the drain open, we will go into the sewer main and clean it out with a rod. And so we're really trying to build capacity in the sewer main that's servicing homes so that if we get additional rain, and rain is still predicted to come in the next few days, our customers will not see any more flooding. Secondly, 2 days ago, I got a call from St. John Hospital. They indicated that they had a rusty brown water that was getting into the hospital. We got an additional 150 calls from neighbors around the hospital. We did an investigation. That was a disruption to the water main that feeds that neighborhood and that hospital. We spent all night last night flushing the system, and we've got it cleaned out now. And so we're asking the residents around St. John's Hospital to just go to your basement laundry tub and open up the water faucets, go to the highest point in the house, whether that's the kitchen or the second floor, and open up your lines so that you can flush your lines, your internal lines in your house completely out, and then you should have safe, clean water. If the problem reoccurs, please don't hesitate to call DWSD at 313-237-8000, and we'll get back out and try to investigate the issue further. But right now, that issue has been resolved. With that said, Mr. Mayor, I'll open it up for questions.
Some residents have called us saying that they've experienced floods 3 to 4 times in the last 10 years. What's your response to that? And is there any update on the investigation of Conner Creek?
Right now, we're just focused on providing a service to our residents. I mean, they're really hurting with the issues that are going on. I can say that there's been a lot of conversation about Connor Creek, but let me just say that this was a storm of epic proportion, bigger than any of the storms that had caused damage in the past, specifically in 2016, 2014. And that no matter had this system been just humming along, operating perfectly, the city of Detroit, the streets of Detroit were going to flood based on the sheer volume of water that overtook the system. And so I'd like to not lose focus of what's really important here, and what's really important is let's make sure that we take care of all the health and safety issues in these homes. Let's get the mold out. Let's get the bulk material out with our volunteers, and make sure that our seniors and our disabled members of the city of Detroit are taken care of, and we can figure out how to make the system more efficient, or make any policy changes that need to be made in the future.
Good afternoon. I'd like to follow up on the Connor Creek. I'm sure you've heard that Candace Miller next door in Macomb County, the Public Works Commissioner, spoke out about what happened there yesterday. Today she's calling for an outside investigation of what happened over there. Grosse Pointe Park Police notified their residents Saturday morning that the failure of that pump station caused their flooding, and I had residents tell me over there yesterday that as soon as that was back online and pumping, the water receded, especially from the streets, not necessarily from their basements. Mr. Mayor, Gary Brown, what have you been told about what went wrong over there?
You know, this is just kind of hard to believe. Through most of my adult life, the elected officials at Oakland and Macomb County said if we could just have control of the water system, we could solve these problems. The Great Lakes Water Authority and Connor Creek Pump Station is a regional authority. It's got 6 board members. 4 of them are from the suburbs. Macomb County is on the Great Lakes Water Authority board. The Macomb reps have supported the GLEWA management team. They've supported all of the operating and capital plans. And so I agree that it should be investigated, but that means Macomb needs to investigate themselves too. I mean, you need to step up and say, we were making these decisions and supported them. But I think all pumping stations should work. So GLEWA operated 6 stations. They probably ran for 10 to 12 hours. The Connor Creek station looks like it may have been down for an hour or two, at least partially down. It should work all the time. But I felt like the way it was framed, they were failing to point out this is a regional operation that Macomb's been playing a management role in all along. But every pump station should work at all times during all storms. And we do need to know why it was down. And you know, Gary Brown has said from the beginning, we want that investigation. But don't let them frame this as if they're investigating somebody else.
Would this have happened if you hadn't lost that asset in the bankruptcy and the Great Lakes Water Authority formed, if this was still under control of the city?
We don't know yet how much was shut down or for how long. But again, I'll say this. You have 6 pump stations that probably ran 10 or 12 hours. 1 pump station was partially or wholly down for an hour or 2. How material is that to the whole thing? That's what we need to look at, but you ought to put it in context. But pump stations should work all the time. And we're demanding answers from GLEWA as well. My only point is, I thought the way it was framed, I just didn't think was as complete as it should have been.
Gary, you'd mentioned the other day all systems within your control in the city were working. Is that still your position and assessment today?
When we talk about Detroit and the distribution system, we're really talking about the linear assets, the pipes that are in the ground. That's what DWSD is responsible for. we're not responsible for operating and maintaining the plants. And so all of the distribution system was working as designed. I'm not saying that there couldn't have been a sporadic sewer in one of our neighborhoods that was blocked and caused a problem for one of our residents. But that's what our crews will be working on this weekend. If we've identified a sewer that was defective, we will be very transparent with the homeowner that was affected and make them whole.
Kind of an overview question. I don't know if it's for Gary or again for the mayor. Are you able to say at this point the percentage of cleanup that you have accomplished at this point?
I don't know how to put a percentage on it because you have a number of issues. One is it out of the basement in the first place? The second is the debris hauled away? And the third is the basement clean free of the sewage residue when it's done? But we're in the early stages. There's no question about that.
Have you had any conversations behind the scenes? I'm going back to the Connor Creek. Have you had any discussions behind the scenes with that authority in terms of what happened? Are they giving you any information at all? Or are you still totally without any?
Yeah, it's my understanding at 1 o'clock tomorrow there'll be a press conference. There's not a board meeting for another week and a half or so, but we expect to have a closed session and be updated as board members right after the press conference.
So you'll get a briefing from them after the news conference?
That's what the board is expecting to get a briefing from the executive team shortly after the press conference.
Okay. Are you the largest customer of the Water Authority?
Yes, we're 40% approximately of the system.
Yeah. And this goes all the way up to Flint, correct?
60% of the state when it comes to water and sewer. Approximately.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.